The story of Amanda Knox, a Netflix documentary.
Some content within the video may not be suitable for all viewers and may contain scenes depicting violence, suicides, or other sensitive topics that could potentially trigger emotional distress. Viewer discretion is advised. The Amanda Knox documentary on Netflix explores the high-profile murder case of Meredith Kercher, a British exchange student, in Perugia, Italy, in 2007. Amanda Knox, an American student and Kercher's roommate, along with her then-boyfriend Rafael Solicito, were initially convicted of the crime. The victim, Meredith Kercher, was found sexually assaulted and brutally murdered in their shared apartment. The documentary examines the investigation and subsequent trials, revealing the media frenzy and public speculation surrounding the case. It questions the reliability of the evidence used to convict Knox and Solicito, including DNA analysis and the role of prosecutor Giuliano Magnini. The case took numerous twists and turns, with multiple appeals and legal proceedings. In 2015, the Italian Supreme Court overturned the convictions of Amanda Knox and Rafael Solicito, citing insufficient evidence and flaws in the investigation. The judges discredited the prosecution's claim that Knox tried to delay the discovery of the body, citing her prompt calls to the police. The documentary raises important questions about the criminal justice system, media influence, and the challenges of high-profile cases.
Out of Thin Air Netflix. Gudmundur and Geirfinnur case.
The documentary explores the case of Gudmundur and Geirfinnur, two men who were convicted of separate murders in Iceland in the 1970s. The convictions were based on confessions obtained through controversial and potentially coercive methods, the police interrogations, and the social and political context of Iceland during that time. As the story unfolds, Out of Thin Air raises questions about the reliability of confessions and the impact of psychological pressure on individuals facing interrogation. The film features interviews with key figures involved in the case, including the accused, investigators, and others connected to the legal proceedings. The title Out of Thin Air alludes to the idea that the convictions seem to emerge suddenly and without substantial evidence, questioning the validity of the legal process. The documentary themes related to justice, memory, and the potential fallibility of the criminal justice system.
The Staircase Netflix. Michael Peterson story.
On December 9, 2001, in North Carolina, Michael Peterson calls 911 after discovering his wife, Kathleen, unconscious and bleeding at the bottom of the staircase. Despite initial belief that it was an accident, local law enforcement grows suspicious of Michael's involvement, leading to his arrest and subsequent murder charge. The Staircase is a true crime documentary series available on Netflix that follows the compelling case of Michael Peterson. The series provides an in-depth exploration of the investigation, trial, and aftermath. The prosecution argued that Michael bludgeoned his wife to death, while the defense maintained it was an accidental fall. The suspicion surrounding Peterson arose due to the unusual circumstances of Kathleen's death, the presence of blood splatter at the scene. Michael Peterson, the suspect, is a successful and well-respected writer. The series explores his personal life, relationships, and past, investigating potential motives for him to commit the alleged crime. The documentary features courtroom footage, expert testimonies, and interviews with key figures involved in the case. It spans over several years, capturing the legal twists and turns, including Peterson's conviction in 2003 and subsequent appeals. The defense argued that the prosecution's evidence was flawed and that Kathleen's death was the result of a tragic accident. One pivotal element is the use of forensic evidence, particularly the analysis of blood spatter patterns, which played a crucial role in shaping the narrative of the trial. As the series progresses, unexpected developments and revelations surface, adding layers of intricacy to the case. The Staircase provides a thought-provoking and gripping examination of the American legal system and the mysteries surrounding the death of Kathleen Peterson. The Staircase also excels in its ability to humanize the individuals involved, providing a multi-dimensional portrait of Michael Peterson and the impact of the trial on his family. The documentary skillfully navigates the blurred lines between truth and perception, inviting viewers to question their own assumptions about guilt and innocence.
The Confession Tapes Netflix original.
The Confession Tapes is a true crime documentary series on Netflix that explores cases where individuals have been convicted based on confessions, which later come into question. The series focuses on the phenomenon of false confessions and the potential flaws in the criminal justice system. Each episode examines a different criminal case where the primary evidence against the accused is a confession. The series investigates whether the confessions were obtained legitimately or if they were coerced, false, or otherwise unreliable. It raises important questions about the tactics used during police interrogations and the psychological pressures that can lead individuals to admit to crimes they did not commit. The episodes are standalone and cover various cases. It explores the legal and ethical implications of relying heavily on confessions as evidence in criminal cases.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell to get notified about our latest videos.
Making a Murderer Netflix. The Steven Avery story.
Making a Murderer on Netflix is a groundbreaking documentary that details the controversial case of Steven Avery, a Wisconsin man entangled in a web of legal challenges. The documentary traces Avery's life, from his wrongful conviction and subsequent exoneration for a sexual assault case to his arrest and conviction for the murder of photographer Teresa Halbach. Steven Avery, a working-class resident of Manitowoc County, gains attention after serving 18 years in prison for a crime he did not commit. His life takes a drastic turn when accused of the brutal murder of Teresa Halbach, a young photographer, prompting questions about the investigation's fairness and the potential involvement of law enforcement in a setup. The victims in this case include not only Teresa Halbach, but also Steven Avery and his nephew, Brendan Dassey, implicated in the crime. The documentary examines the legal proceedings, presenting a persuasive argument that Avery and Dassey fell victim to a flawed justice system marred by corruption and hasty judgments. The documentary scrutinizes law enforcement methods during the investigation, notably the controversial interrogation of Brendan Dassey, raising concerns about coerced confessions. It also highlights the defense's efforts to expose inconsistencies in the trial evidence. In Part 2, the documentary shows the numerous attempts to overturn their convictions, showcasing forensic tests by Avery's lawyers. While Dassey's conviction is initially overturned in 2016 due to alleged coercion during confession, subsequent legal battles lead to conflicting decisions. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the Seventh Circuit ultimately upheld Dassey's conviction in December 2017, despite earlier orders for his release. The U.S. Supreme Court's refusal to hear Dassey's appeal in June 2018 adds another layer to the ongoing legal saga surrounding their convictions. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy the video. Love Psychate.